Well, welcome to another lesson of the Focus on Content Stack course. I'm Marcelo Lewin, the Headless Creator. And as always, you can get a hold of me, Marcelo, at headlesscreator.com. You see my email on the screen, so feel free to reach out to me. Send me any emails you want. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, or as soon as I can, actually. Today, I'm going to be talking about global fields in Content Stack and how you can use them to create scalable content model. I equate global fields more to like components. I don't like that name global fields, but that's what they call it. They're more like components, and I'll explain in just a minute. But as always, before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and tell you where you can get the on-demand version. Just go to headlesscreator.com for those of you watching live. You can go to headlesscreator.com, click on register, and then you'll be able to get the on-demand version right there. You can see right here is sort of the registration page for this lesson. If you go to courses, all courses, you'll be able to see Focus on Content Stack right there. And then you'll be able to find the lesson right over here. You can see 518, we have one coming up, 525, another one coming up. Here's the 5.4, creating a scalable content model. So you'll be able to find it over there. Of course, once you register, you'll have access to a bunch of courses, and look at all the upcoming lessons we have just in May. We have tons of upcoming lessons for you right there on a whole bunch of CMSs and content modeling and just a bunch of stuff. So just go to headlesscreator.com, register, get your account. It's all free. And then you'll be able to get into this content. So, all right, having said that, I'm going to go ahead and get me back on here. And what I'm going to do, as you guys all know, for the on-demand version, it'll be a nice clean version. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the intro. I'm just going to repeat that intro one time, and then we'll jump into doing the actual lesson. So see you in just 1 minute. Well, hello, and welcome to another lesson of the Focus on Content Stack course. I'm Marcelo Lewin, the Headless Creator. As always, you can get a hold of me at my email address that you see right there, marcelo@headlesscreator.com. Yes, Star Wars, why? Today's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And we celebrate it here in the U.S. Wherever you're watching, you should be celebrating it too, because Star Wars is just an international thing. Anyway, we have that done. Today, I'm going to talk to you about global fields and how you can use them to create a scalable content model in Content Stack. So why don't we just jump in and we can start talking about global fields and what they are. So this is my trusty Miro board where I do all my content modeling. If you watch my Content Modeling Weekly course, you know this is sort of the standard that I use. So, okay, so let's talk about first of all, let's talk about what are global fields. Global fields don't hold content, they hold structure. And that's why I don't like calling them global fields. To me, even though that's what Content Stack calls them and that's where you'll find them, to me, they're more like components. You can create reusable components that hold structure of fields. And the content is stored within the context of the content type that references that component. You'll see that in just a minute. It'll clarify in just a minute. But the difference between a content type and a global field is a content type holds content. A global field holds a structure that can be used in other content types. Okay, so keep that in mind. Global fields can have references to content types. I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. It could also use modular blocks in a Content Stack. One thing, you cannot enter content directly into a global field. You can only enter it through the field that it's referencing that global field. So we'll get into all of that. So what are we going to do now is we're going to take an example. Let's take an example of, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit larger. And let's put this, I'm rearranging my screen here a little bit just to make it easier. So let's take an example where we have, we're going to make a content model that is not scalable. So let's take an example where we have two content types. We have a company And let's say the company has a name. Let's just keep it simple. It has a name. And then we have a user. And a user also has a name, right? So we'll keep it simple like that. Now, let's say that the company also has an address. So we're going to say it has an address, a city, a state, a zip, and a country. Well, guess what? Get rid of that there. We'll do that. You should be able to see without a problem. Perfect. So guess what? A user also may have an address, a city, a state, a zip, and a country. So now we have two content types, right? And by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to type it in. But for those of you watching live, feel free to type it in the comments and I'll answer it. But now we have two content types that are duplicating address information, right? So tomorrow they say, hey, we want a geolocation. Okay, so now you have to go into all the content types and put in geolocation and then put in here geolocation. So you get the idea, right? So this is bad because you're duplicating structure. It's hard to maintain. It's just not a good way of processing or content modeling. So what do? Let's do it the right way. We have, again, we'll have a company that has a name. We'll keep it simple in this case. And we have a user that has a name. Now we know both. We know that both require address. So we're going to create an address. We're going to call it address, if I can spell it. And it has address, city, state, zip, country. And this is a component. We're going to make it red so we know it's a component. In other words, it's a global type. Now, in Content Stack, you have global types, and then you have global fields, which are used in content types. You'll see that in just a minute. But now we have an address component, global type, right? And what we're going to do to make this super scalable, because I don't want the state to be a value type that I have to continually update. I want that to be others manage that. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two content types called state, which has a name, and another content type called country, which has a name. We'll just keep it simple. And I'm going to say that state has a 1-to-1 relationship to state, and country has a 1-to-1 relationship to country. That way, and this shows you that components in Content Stack can have references to content types, right? So globals can reference content types. So now what do? Well, it's really easy because now all I can do is here is type in address, which would be a global type to address. And I'm going to do address, which is a global type to address. Say global type, address. Okay, so this is a component or a global type, right? Okay, so see, this now is a scalable content model because tomorrow you have your marketing department, whoever comes and say, hey, you know, we need to track for company, user, and wherever else you use